Alright, how are you doing today? When we last left off, it said we'd continue with the waters of Merom. So when we go to the book of Joshua, and we read Joshua chapter 1, and it came to pass when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard those things, that he sent Joab, king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king Ashapha. Yeah, sorry about that. And to the kings that were in the north mountains and of the plains of Chinneroth. So we're going to remember that, Chinneroth. And in the valley, and in the borders of Dor, on the west. And to the Canaanite on the east, and on the west, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and to the Jebusite in the mountains. And to the Hivite under Hermon. Not in the valley. Alright, we all know valleys are at the bottom of mountains. It says under Hermon. In the land of Mizpah. Alright? And they went out, they and all their host with them, much people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore in multitude, with horses and chariots, very many. And when all these kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom. So, this is where we hear about the waters of Merom. Now, we type in Merom, Indiana, and it states, the town's name commemorates the battle of the waters of Merom. But when we go to the battle of the waters of Merom, the encyclopedia states, this is a battle between the Israelites and the coalition of Canaanite city-states. It has been suggested that the battle may never have taken place. It has been suggested that the battle may never have taken place, that its narrative might have preserved some remote echoes of war conducted with these places in early Iron Age, right? Early Iron Age, right? That's what it says. So, further states, in the biblical narrative, because they don't believe in the Bible, but they show you all these biblical things. In the biblical narrative, around 40 years before the battle, the Israelites escaped from slavery in Egypt, setting out for the Exodus. Under the leadership of Moses, they entered Canaan, near Jericho, and captured several cities. An alliance of northern Canaanite city-states sent a united force to halt the Israelite invasion. And the Israelites counterattacked, catching the Canaanite forces unaware and routing them with a fearsome head-on assault. The battle is described in Joshua chapter 11. Now, this is how we have the towns that is the name commemorates the battle of Merom. All right, so again, we typed in last time we typed in ancient bones found in Merom, Indiana. Now, I remember last time, it's recorded, I believe, not watching and recording, it was 4 things down. Now this one that I'm talking about is cavingnews.com. See, there's no www dot or anything on that one, right? It just says cavingnews.com, right? Alright, so when we go over here and we just look for that article just to make sure, like the scholar works, mound builder, NWI Times, T Nephilim, www.jstore.org, http gianthumanskeletons.blog. You see, this site, Caving News, it doesn't come up for whatever reason. So somebody threw us a bone. So we're gonna be happy about the bone. We're gonna chew the meat off of it, suck the bone. But we're not gonna be putting the bone in a baby's mouth like those savage Canaanites of the Lap tribe, the Laps tribe. Hanging babies in trees from fur sacks, and the female goes out to hunting with the male. That's crazy shit, dude. Alright, so let's look at this. Despite, significant deposit of Ice Age bones found in southern Indiana cave. Okay, so besides facilitating easy access to visitors of the soon-to-open Indiana caverns, the creation of a new entrance into Indiana's Binkley Cave has for the first time allowed a paleontologist to visit Big Bone Mountain. Okay, so it's already called Big Bone Mountain. Isn't that cute, right? Like they found big bones there. Bones that are bigger than normal humans. Initially discovered in October 2010, Big Bone Mountain, as it was soon dubbed, was found when members of the Indiana Speleology Survey climbed up a nearly vertical slot into a room littered with bones. Wow. As it was like a perch, right? Like a perch in the mountain, and it was littered with bones. It was a strenuous 10 to 12 hour expedition to reach the room. The cavers couldn't get a paleontologist to the site, and for a time being had to suffice with sending photos to Ron Richards, chief curator of science and technology at the Indiana State Museum in Indianapolis. Look at this. You already know what that dude Powell did, right? Powell or Howell, whatever his name is, said any archaeological finds that are pre-Columbian, we're gonna hide them, because then that means Columbus didn't discover it. So that means, you know, you have you ever looked up the definition of colonization? That means you have to put authority on the people that already live there. You have to make subjects of them. Listen, if we were brought from Africa and they came from Europe and we both came to this land and we were enslaved, that's not colonization. That's expansion with slaves. We got to be here first for them to colonize. It's called colonization. Everywhere else in the motherfucking world, when they say colonization, they're sitting there telling you there's aboriginals, indigenous people, mainly dark skinned. They go boo 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 and have other languages that we cannot decipher until we trade rare things with them, or they've never seen before, like a sweater. They've never seen sweaters before. Okay, so they couldn't get a paleontologist there, right? Because, you know, these guys are like, well, I don't want my license revoked. You know, I want to keep that government money coming in. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh. But this guy did. They did it. These guys pushed. They're like, hey, we gotta make a 10-hour vertical climb. Or we gotta, you know, the whole expedition plus the vertical climb is 10 to 12 hours. At least view these damn pictures and tell us what's up. So this guy, Ron Richards, chief curator of science and technology at the Indiana State Museum in Indianapolis, he agreed to do it. From his initial impression, the photos they sent, he thought the bones may be from either bison or musk oxen. Oh, well, up there, fucking 12-hour climb or 12-hour expedition where it's a complete vertical climb. Well, these must be oxen. Oxen must have climbed this. Bison must have climbed this. And this is why this guy didn't want to take his ass up there and go in there, right? So, with the drilling of the new entry in early 2012, the developers of the Indiana Caverns created an easy-to-access route into the area, and Ron Richards was finally able to come down to do a paleontological, whatever, survey of the site. Well, that's cool. So he does come out, and he works for the state, right? He works for the the state museum. So you gotta understand that's you know. So he's not playing by their rules right now, all right? When he comes and he analyzes this stuff. Richards has only been to the cave some 20 minutes when he realized that the Big Bone Mountain was a truly significant site for something animal bones, whatever. During the first visit, he recorded the remains of an extinct flat-headed something. It's a ancient pig-like skull. Skeletons were exposed to the surface and deposited in the room that may contain some 20 to 40 individuals at the minimum. Now listen to this again. Skulls are exposed at the surface and the deposit in the room may contain 20 to 40 individuals. No, we're not. It's an ancient pig-like animal, but now they're calling them individuals. Now, is he saying individual skulls? Individual animals? At the minimum, he says, besides the Bakari bones and remains of black bear, fisher, owl, other birds, a bison, and even 2 snakes were visible on the surface. So how these guys had to dig a hole in the mountain to be able to get to this part. The only way to get to that part before was scaling the mountain. Numerous bear beds were also found, right? Bear beds. Alright, so I'm going to show you this. Now they're saying that's an animal, right? Way up high, right? Now, here we have ancient bones found in Merom, Indiana. Here we have ancient mounds and enclosures in Indiana. Charcoal and buried bones, right? Here, I'll type in human in a minute. Alright, so when we scroll down, it says mound builders, of Sioux earthworks at Merom. Okay, I want to look at this one real quick. This one says April 30th, 2014. Ancient fortresses found in Ohio Valley. Part 3. Grave Creek Complex, Smoke and Mirrors. Now listen to this. In the first installment of the series, I described 2 ancient fortresses. Merom Bluff, right? And Devil's Backbone, both in Indiana. Now, the rest of this article deals with Ohio. Now, you can look it up if you want to. This is on ancientamerica.com. I think that's Wayne May's thing. And when you type in ancient bones found in Ohio, it's somewhere down here. There it is, last one. Ancient America 2014. That's the one right there. So it's all the way down at the bottom if you get the same display I get. Now, I want you to remember, the first time I typed this in, I got this article. Now this article is not here. When I go, they only give me, they gave me 3 pages before, but when I go 3 pages, 5 pages in, I do not see this article. This significant deposit of Ice Age bones found in southern Indiana cave. You've got to climb a vertical cliff to get to. Takes 10 to 12 hours an expedition to get to. They don't start the clock when they leave their house. They start the clock when they get out of their cars as a group on site. All right, let's go back up to the top. All right, ancient. We already saw that one. Sioux earthworks at Merom. All right. Now, Sioux earthworks at Merom, Indiana. This is in Sullivan County, Sullivan, whatever it is. And then they have a map of how the earthworks are mapped out. Earthworks placed on the highest bluff. Now, remember, we just read this, and it's on Merom Bluff, right? So, fortress, right? It's on Merom Bluff of Wabash River, was believed to be constructed by the Sioux Indians, the Wanutu Indians. The Straw Town earthworks was excavated in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and their conclusions were that the earthworks was of Sioux origin. The earthworks had been plowed for many years, and its original contours diminished. You understand what that means? They've been slowly but surely destroying it. Archaeologists replaced the earth when finished, leaving no apparent signs of an excavation. The earthwork at Yorktown, Indiana looks similar in design to Straw Town, also on the White River, and may also prove to be Onto in origin. Alright, so the Bible says these Indians are Canaanites. Now, we can't tell who built these unless we start studying them. Okay, the next one says ancient burial ground, mummy found in Lake County. Alright, so where's this at? This is in Indiana. Alright, we already know the waters of Merom, Lake Merom is in Indiana. So we can do this all day. As long as they keep popping up articles, I can keep reading these off, and I can keep reading the Bible and showing you that it's the same thing. Ancient burial grounds, mummy found in Lake County, could be 2,000 years old. Wait, that would take us back towards the time of the Gregorian calendar being marked at 0 since it's 2016. Come on, see, why has everybody got to put up freaking advertisements? Well, I got to get ads to pay for my website, or I charge you for articles. Land surveyors discovered a mummy that could be at least could be 2,000 years old on site of the controversial. See, it's a controversy because it's pre-Columbian history being found to prove what? Negroes lived here. Whether they were Shem or whether they were Ham. Whether they were Hebrew, whether they were Edom. Whether they were Canaanite and non-Negroid but Mongoloid, or whether they were Negroid Canaanites. No matter what, it's pre-Columbian. Excuse me. So, the site is at Singleton Stone Quarry in South Lake County. Archaeologists will investigate whether they stumbled into a Native American burial ground. That wasn't even the only set of old remains. See, set means more than one. They said a mummy. Set means more than one. That wasn't even the only set of old remains to turn up in Lake County. A Highland man was digging in his yard at the 8100 block of East 4th Place on Friday when he found what appeared to be remains, according to Lake County Coroner's Office. At this point, it's unclear what type of remains the Highland resident dug up, but the Coroner's Office and the Highland Police Department are investigating. Lake County Sheriff's Office got called out Friday by archaeologists digging at the site of a planned quarry. So they plan to make a quarry, so they got to dig everything up and reconstruct it anyway. At Clay Street, south of Lowell in Eagle Township, South Lake County farmers and residents long have vocally opposed. See, it's the land of the people, right? The government works for the people, right? The people of the state, right? The state commissioner's office, the Bureau of Land Management there. They work for the people, right? The residents long have vocally opposed the Singleton Stone Quarry. But they don't give a shit what the people say. These people are white, and white men don't give a fuck what they say. They say Reneth Riley intends to mine for a concrete aggregate, whatever, that's used in road construction, which a giant retention pond when Singleton Ditch gets too full. A team of archaeologists at the site found what appeared to be mummified human remains that have been there for hundreds of years. They said it could be 500, that's before Columbus, to 2,000 years old, that's before Columbus. They could distinguish a head and the torso. It could be a Native American burial ground. Whatever it is, they're aboriginal to this or they're original to this. Archaeologists who found the remains had been hired by Cardinal, right? Catholic Church, Cardinal Environmental Consultation Company to search for prehistoric artifacts at the site. So the consultation company already told them to look for prehistoric artifacts at the site, which is required in order to get permits for such excavation projects. Now, that's important information to us because you can always call consulting firms and ask, hey, I know you're required in order to get permits for a site that you have to search for prehistoric artifacts. So, well, it's very important that I read that. Alright, so Sheriff's Office and Coroner were called out and quickly established possible human remains were not related to a crime scene. I contacted and consulted with Dr. Krishna Latham and Dr. Stephen Nowarik, both board-certified forensic anthropologists, the University of Anthropologists. So that's who's working on them, or that's who's passing them off, but their names are there. Latham and Nowarik at University of Indianapolis. And together they determined the findings appeared to be older than 1940. Therefore, neither Lake County Coroner's Office or criminal investigation will be involved in the case. Artifacts found at the scene have been determined by the Cardinal archaeologist at the scene to possibly be human remains, but the exact age is still unknown at the time. State Archaeology Department, which is part of Indiana Department of Natural Resources, is now handling the investigation. If a crime had been committed, potentially it would be about hundreds of years ago, too late. So blah 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 blah. We handed it over to the DNR. We handed it over to DNR because it's their bailiwick, he said. They took the remains and they're dealing with it now. What is BNR and what does bailiwick means? So bailiwick means, excuse me. Excuse me. Bailiwick means jurisdiction. So it's the DNR's jurisdiction. Alright, Department of Natural Resources. So archaeological finds fall under the jurisdiction of Department of Natural Resources per state. Now, once those things are discovered, if not, that you're dealing with the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. Alright, so look, all this stuff is in Merom, or around Merom, or the bluffs of Merom. Now, 9-foot Nephilim skull found in Indiana. Alright, you ready for this? How many people say, if it ain't in the scripture, then I don't... Yeah, right? Okay, so I said, let's highlight Chinnereth, right? So, let's look at Joshua chapter 12, right? No. Come on, computer, you can do it, man. Best friends. I just like doing that. So, see that? 12:3. Joshua chapter 12, verse 3. And from the plain to the sea of Chinneroth, to the east, unto the sea of the plain. Right? So we're talking about the Chinnereth, right? And the coast of Og, king of Bashan. So I'm gonna put that in the title. Just I don't usually try to grab people's attention, right? I'll put it under the title. I don't know what I'm title it yet. So they're sitting here telling you, we found giants. We found the bones of giants. We found the bones of giants in Indiana. This could be the land of Og of Bashan. But we don't know yet because we haven't studied. So we probably won't title it. Hey, I'm sorry for yelling. I don't give a shit, actually. You watch, Indiana, ancient sites of southeastern Indiana, prehistoric times have found bones and Merom expanding, right? Menom's there. They found remains of ancient, let's put humans. Ancient humans. Let me put human bones. Human bones. I'm hyper because I'm hungry. I was gonna make a short video, but I'm kind of excited. So, ancient human bones found. Alright, if there's none, it should be blank, right? Ancient mounds and enclosures in Indiana claim they were not human but small animals. That's some claim. Nephilim skeleton. Bones discovery may suggest mysterious ancient. It's a Chinese cave. Bone formerly discovered. Previously unknown human. Belonged to a previously unknown human. Indiana evidence of human and dog burials. Early peoples of Indiana. So there's it's ancient stuff. Alright. We have Boone County, Indiana. The human bones that have been found in various places. Alright. The Latin. Look at that. At Zathan. Zatlin. As Atlin in Sullivan, near town of Merom. I think I proved the scripture. I think modern articles have proved the Bible true. I think, therefore it is. He who controls the past controls the future. Now, you can see our future blossoming right before your eyes, and you're just sitting in a chair. How many of you are ready to become active? Activation.